We are on the cusp of a major social change. Do you feel it? Even if you don't, make no mistake, change is coming, and it is going to be unforgettable. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Hart, and here on Prime Spark, where we work with and on behalf of women over 55, I want to help you find that spark that will ignite your way forward, reflect your gifts to the world, and illuminate your path through this next stage of life. Through these podcast conversations, I hope to inspire you to see how you can make a significant contribution to some of the gnarly problems that are facing us right now. Join me, and together let's discover our Prime Spark. Hi, and welcome to Prime Spark. I'm Sarah Hart, and I'm so happy you're here with us. Prime Spark is designed for women over 50 or close, with a goal to help us all live our happiest, most fulfilling, and productive lives, now and in the future. The mission of Prime Spark is to change the way our society sees and treats older women. That's a big mission, which only means we all need to be involved and we need to get going now. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Suzy Prudden, a woman whose work I greatly admire. Suzy Prudden is a legend, an influencer for the past 45 years. Suzy is bringing her expertise to the publishing world. She is an award-winning, internationally acclaimed speaker, workshop and seminar leader, New York Times bestselling author, fitness expert, body-mind pioneer, hypnotherapist, success and empowerment coach, TV host, NBC and Nickelodeon, radio host, WBAI in New York, creator of the Inner Mind Certification Program, and book publisher. Suzy has shared the stage with Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins, Dr. DiMartini, Louise, Bob Proctor, Mark Victor Hansen, Les Brown, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Reverend Mary Morrissy, Jay Abraham, Byron Katie, Marianne Williamson, Dr. John Gray, and many, many more. You've seen Suzy on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The Today Show. She's been featured in U.S. Magazine, Forbes Magazine, Newsweek, Vogue, and People, to name a few. The New York Times says if Suzy is talking about it today, the rest of the country will be talking about it tomorrow. Welcome, Suzy. I'm so happy you're here today.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm happy to be here.
So just in getting started, let me ask you, do you experience getting older? And if so, what is that experience? And if not, why do you think it is that you don't?
That's a great question, Sarah, because it's got many, many answers. Sometimes I feel old and crotchety and grumpy and achy, and my teeth hurt, my back hurts, my feet don't hurt, thank goodness. And sometimes it's like I'm 26. So when I was 26, my back hurt, and so I think it's just day by day. I'm going to be 81 this summer. Sometimes I feel 81, but again, sometimes I feel 26. I prefer feeling 26, but I am 81.
You know, it's what's really interesting. I mean, what you just said, Suzy. We remember 26 as having been perfect body-wise. I mean, I don't mean necessarily sexy and all that. I mean, health-wise.
Right.
It's not true. Many of us had difficulties of one kind or another, but we don't remember that. We don't remember it. Interesting. Okay, Suzy, you have had such a wide-ranging, wonderful career. What parts have satisfied you the most and why?
That's another great question, because when I was doing everything that I was doing, I didn't know what a big deal it was. I just did it. I have only realized my success in the past, I think 5 years, when I've actually people have been sort of taking me and say, Suzy, will you look at what you've done? And then I started looking at what I've done, and I've done a lot. But while I was doing it, so now I look back and go, God, I did a lot, and I did it well. And I wrote a piece for a book recently, and I was looking at my life and the different chapters and different things that I've done. I actually retired from business when I was 40 years old. I had built the fitness school in New York City. That's when I had my TV career and had written so many books, and I sold my business. And I didn't realize that I actually retired. I stopped working. I had a wonderful time not working. And then I ran out of money, so I had to go back to work again. I made up something else, like I made up my other business. I keep making up businesses and then doing them for a while and then either selling them or moving on. But I guess right now I'm looking back and seeing what a truly incredible life I've had. A big life.
A big, very big life.
Very big life.
So I am curious about, as you look back over all the things you have done, what at this point, as you think about it, satisfies you the most about the things you've done?
That I'm able now to use what I've done in the past to lift up the authors that I publish, because I've done it. I've done the television. I've done the tours. I've done I've done it. And so when I work with an author, I say, well, this is what you have to do in order to move your career forward. Because my company, so it's so much fun. My company it was an accident. My sister and I we had an idea on Christmas Day, 2014, and wow, that's a good idea. Let's do it. And 3 days later, we were in business with it, and now it's extraordinary. But my whole purpose with what I want to do with my company is to promote my authors, is to help them grow their businesses, is to help them make the difference in the world that they want to make. And because I've done it, that's what fires me up. And that's exciting to me.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
What a gift. I mean, there have been a lot of gifts all along the way, and then you put them all together, and what a gift now. Do you think that a man would have been more aware of his incredible accomplishments in life than you've been?
I actually wouldn't have a clue, because I don't know this because I'm not a man, but I think men take it for granted that they're going to do stuff. When I say I took it for granted, my mother was the nation's foremost fitness authority in her career. She started the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports in the 50s under Eisenhower. So I had a model. My mother was an entrepreneur in the 50s. And so I didn't have a mother that when I came home from school had cookies and milk. I had a mother who was running a business and doing television, and she did it. That's why I did it. I said, oh, well, she can do it, I can do it. This is funny, when I started teaching 2-year-olds in 1968, my son was 2. Someone called because I was teaching women in exercise. Do you teach 2-year-olds? And I said, well, I don't teach them. I have a 2-year-old. I teach him. Would you teach them? I said, yes. She brought 5 kids over, 5 mothers, 5 kids. We have 6 kids in my living room. The night before, I called my mother. Mom, what do I do? Keep them busy. That's all she said. And I created the largest fitness school in New York City for toddlers. This is before Gymboree, before Mommy and Me, before any of those programs. And I ended up with 2 studios in New York, plus a summer camp in East Hampton. All she said was keep them busy.
Oh, I love that story, Suzy. That's a wonderful story.
Do you know you have to change an exercise for a 2-year-old every 10 to 15 seconds?
That's probably becoming more and more true now because of our attention span.
Yes, now it's adults as well.
Yeah. Do people still recognize you for your life as a fitness coach?
Yes. In a word, yes. And I can say that this is so fun. I'm so glad you asked me that question, because it's a fun story. Last year, I was at a conference in Orlando, And I got there early. I'm having lunch. I have my badge on, Suzy Prudden. I'm leaving the restaurant. I pass a table of 4 ladies, and all of a sudden, one of them said, "Suzy Prudden." I said, "What?" "I have your books." Now, I haven't written a book or worn a leotard since 1992. And this is the book that she's referring to.
I remember that book, Suzy.
There
For
you go.
those of you listening, Suzy is showing the cover of her book, and the title is Change Your Mind, Change Your Body.
Change Your Mind.
I remember that book.
And that's a funny story, how I got that book. I had done the Oprah show, and her show for her anniversary show was in November. I had done her show in September. The last thing she said before the show went dark was, "You want to make peace with your body, get Suzy Prudden's book, Change Your Mind, Change Your Body." But I hadn't written it yet. I had written Meta Fitness, but that's about changing your mind, changing your body. So she was thinking about that book, but she gave me, so I wrote the book. I said,
you hadn't been talking about it. She just pulled that out of the air?
Well, I had been on her show and she had used my book.
Right.
And she and I had worked together for a while.
Right.
And so it was in her mind, because when you change your mind about your body, you make peace with it. I mean, your body is your gift. It gets you through life. You probably have beaten yourself. We all do. I'm not tall enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. Whatever it is. When you start to really look at your body and say, "Thank you, body, for taking me through life." And I believe we choose our bodies for the life we're going to live. And this is the body that I was given. And this is the body that I'm going to live in for the duration. I don't want to be at war with my body. And now at 81, thank God I'm not at war with it, because it's still functioning.
That is so good, Suzy. I think I so firmly believe that what we assume to be true becomes true.
Yes.
I mean, not 100% of the time, I suppose, or whatever. But if I assume that I am going to be able to do most of the things I want to keep doing for the duration, I am more likely to be able to do it than if I decide. I mean, I know people who everything that's going on that's questionable for them, they chalk up to their age. Oh, this knee hurts because I'm getting old.
Right.
Well, maybe, but what did you just do? I mean, so I think that the way that I hate to hear people to talk about their age all the time and the problems it's causing them, because then it will.
Right. It's like when you can't find a word and you say, "Well, that's because I'm getting old. I can't find the word."
Senior moment.
Senior moment. That's it. What I say is, it sounds like I'm playing charades.
Oh, I love that. I have a friend of mine, I've told this story, but I love this story. I had a friend of mine say, if forgetting things is a sign of aging, then my 16-year-old son is much older than I am. He can't find anything. He can't remember anything. Isn't that wonderful?
Wonderful.
So how have you seen fitness coaching change over the years?
Oh, they've got so many gizmos now. And they're quite brutal. And people like it. When I was teaching, and my teacher, that was my mother, we taught people to flow in movement. It's not, it was more like dance. My mother was a Broadway dancer. She studied dance for her whole life, and she was grace personified. And so when she taught exercise, which is how I learned, it was really dance broken down into simple movements. And it worked. And it was fun. People came to my classes because they were fun. It's harder now. When my mother started teaching fitness, this was in the 50s, 40s. She started in 47. I was 4. Yeah, 47. Girls didn't exercise. They were told that it's not ladylike to exercise. So my mother told the mothers, of the kids that she wanted to bring into her classes. Under every curve, there's a muscle. No muscle, no curve. Isn't that wonderful?
That's a wonderful thing.
Isn't that wonderful? My mother was quite a genius, an extraordinary genius. And she did a lot of good stuff. And it was interesting to see her in the 40s, 50s, 60s, a woman in business, just plowing through. And she got a lot of flack.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yeah.
I mean, not only a woman in business, but she also was teaching women to exercise.
Exactly.
I love what you said about that it was fun, because I go to a gym, not as often as I should probably, but I go. And if I look around, people look miserable.
Yeah.
And I think, well, this is nuts. This is really nuts.
Hard work. It's not
hard work.
You put on some upbeat music, you let your body feel the music, and you move to it. And it's fun. I mean, my classes were fun. And what I do now, because I'm not teaching exercise, but when I speak, I'll start my talks very often getting the whole room to move. I put on the Pointer Sisters Jump from 1981, and we have the whole room moving in their chairs, and then I have them going right and left, and I make them laugh. I mean, I can turn a room in like 7 seconds and get people laughing through movement. It helps the body when you're sitting all day, lecture after lecture after lecture, to have 3 minutes, and the body goes, "Oh, thank you."
Which is what we all need to do as we sit at our computers all day, every day. That is so unhealthy. Suzy, if somebody wanted to do your exercises, are any of your, I don't know what, videos, or are you online, or can it still, are there any?
Well, I just took my video. Okay, story. Do we have time for a quick story?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I was very good friends with Louise Hay in the 80s. I moved out here from New York. I'm in California now. And I used to live in New York City. So now I live in Los Angeles. And in the 80s, I shared the stage one day with Louise at a meeting that we were both at. And she and I became friends. So I wasn't teaching exercise, but I did exercise. So Louise would come over to my house Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we'd exercise together. And then one day Louise goes, "Ow." And I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I hurt my hip." Or my hip hurts. I said, "Well, Louise, you're the expert. What does that mean?" So she figured it out. She told me, I don't remember, but I had an idea. And I said, "Louise, why don't we do a video together? I'll do the exercises, you do the affirmations." So she took it to her office. They said, "Yes, let's do it." We did it. And that's the book that I have to reach for something. That's the book that Oprah was referring to. And yes, here is the video. Somebody said to me, "You look like it's the 80s. You can see I have this is Louise and me. So I had this transferred to an MP4. So yes, it is available. I have not put it up for sale yet, but it is available. And it's 80s exercises, but they feel good. And when you do it, you smile.
What a concept.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, I want to buy your MP4 because I want to have fun doing exercises, because I've looked around at the gym and think this is really nuts, you guys. This is just really nuts.
Oh, you got to have fun. That's why Richard Simmons was so popular.
Yes, that's right.
He made it fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Suzy, your mother did. Have you run into difficulties with age or gender as you run your business?
Interestingly, not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I mean, somebody may have said something, but I'm not going to. I just kept going. It's like just keep going.
Is that still true?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, what's the alternative is to stop. And I'm not ready. My body will stop when my body stops. But in the meantime, I mean, a friend of mine said, she's so cute. She said she's retired. She said, Suzy, why don't you retire? I said, what would I do? Well, I like what I do.
And I've had so many people say to me, Sarah, when are you going to retire? I don't have any idea. I like what I'm doing. And if I retired, I would probably keep doing it.
Exactly.
And so why should I say I've retired if I would just keep doing what I'm doing because I like it?
Right. Yeah, I can't remember. I was being interviewed for a television show, and the person said, well, what's the most important thing that advice you can give people? I said, keep going. Don't stop. You'll stop, and when you stop,
keep them busy.
Keep them busy. Oh, and that's all she said.
And she was right.
She was right. I built a whole career on that. It's interesting. I don't hang out in my age. It's like I'm too busy.
Right.
And people said, you're traveling all the time. And I look and I say, well, actually, no. I mean, I'm going to Dallas next week. And next week for a week. Then I'm going to go back in September for a week. And I'm going down, I do travel a lot, but it's what I like to do. And somebody asked me recently, said, isn't it difficult to travel? I mean, it's not as fun as it used to be in terms of the flights. I don't get service the way I used to. I mean, I used to love 747's first class. It was so much fun, and it was cheap. It only cost like $400.
Oh, gee, at Christmas, you can't go from here next door on $400 anymore.
I know. Well, in New York City, it was only 15 cents for the subway. I mean, I'm old.
Well, I was telling somebody yesterday, actually, that I lived in New York City from 1970 to 1977. And somewhere around 75, everything started falling apart. But for those first 5 years, it was wonderful. I mean, I lived on the Upper West Side. I could take the subway down to the Village at night and back by myself. And I wasn't worried. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And they said,
no, we're on the West Side.
No, I wasn't.
No, you weren't.
I wasn't.
I mean, stuff stuff happens everywhere.
That's right.
But it was safe.
Yeah, it was
safe.
So, Suzy, you've done so much. So what's next? What is lurking as a dream in your mind that you really at some point might like to get your fingers into?
I am working on it right now. Is more speaking. I love to speak. I love to entertain. I love to make people feel good in an audience. Makes me feel good. I love telling stories, and I love imparting wisdom and good ideas. And I love helping people shift wherever it is they need to shift, giving them nuggets that'll make a difference in their lives. It's like the nugget you gave me today, which was brilliant, when you said you're early because you don't start, you've learned not to start a project just like within a time frame before you leave, where you might get caught in it and not be able to leave on time. So you leave early. I thought, that's brilliant. Because I do what you don't do anymore. Is like, I'll start something thinking I have plenty of time. If I have to leave at 10, I'll get in the car at 10. Well, that's not going to work, because I still have to shift the seat, fix the mirror, because my neighbor borrows my car a lot. So he's tall and I'm short, so I have to fix everything. That takes 10 minutes. I should leave at 9:45 if I have to leave at 10. That's the kind of stuff I like to do for people too. So no golden nuggets.
This is nuggets.
Yeah.
So finally, let me ask you, what questions are you living with right now?
I guess the biggest question I'm living with is, am I going to be able to do what I want to do within the rest of my life? Because I want to do a lot. I love to travel. I love to speak. I love to visit with people. I really want to go and spend a lot of time in Europe again. I did in the 90s. I taught in Europe a lot. And so I want to do that again. I mean, my list is big. And I want to be able to do, will I be able to? I don't spend a lot of time asking that question. I'm too busy doing.
Right.
It's so funny. When I think of various things, like I would love to be a flight attendant, and I have to laugh at myself, because I don't think they're hiring women who are 80 years old to be flight attendants. But I thought, what a great career that would be for a little while. And then I'll look at something else. Oh, I would love to do that too. And then I have to look at myself and go, Suzy, I don't think they're hiring at 80. But it's like, life is exciting.
Life is exciting. And it's what you said about, I don't know if I wonder if I'll have enough time to do everything that I want to do. The likelihood is, no, you won't, Suzy, because your list never stops growing.
Exactly.
And so, no, you won't. You won't get to do everything you want to do because you just add more to the list.
I can't be a flight attendant.
A friend of mine and I, when we were an undergraduate in Ohio, flew from Ohio to Chicago so that we could interview to be flight attendants on TWA.
Oh, sweet.
Isn't that fun? And
that's wonderful.
We weren't accepted. I mean, I'm 5'2", and I wasn't, I was in my early 20s, so it wasn't age. But anyway, it didn't work. At that point, I think flight attendants, it would have been fun. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure about now. But you would make it fun. So you would make whatever fun. Okay, so we have to bring this to an end. So I'm sure that people are going to want to get in touch with you. How can they do that if they want?
It is so easy. You just go to Talk with Suzy Prudden. That's SUZYPRUDDEN.com and book a time with me.
Talkwithsuzyprudden.com.
Right.
Thank you, Suzy. This has been such fun. So that's our time today. Please join us again. You can find our Prime Spark podcast on every popular outlet. Find out more about Prime Spark at primesparkwomen.com. Thank you so much to my guest, Suzy Prudden. And don't forget, you can find her at talkwithsuzyprudden.com. Talk with Suzy Prudden.
I have both ways. I'm not sure.
One way or the other. If one thing doesn't work, try the other one.
Try the other.
Thank you all for being with us. Spread tolerance and love. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to stay updated, you can head over to my website, primesparkwomen.com, and get my free Spark Guide, 7 questions to ignite your spark, to help you discover your own spark. See you in the next episode.